Hello everyone, for first updates now, I'm Tyler Olds and you're watching Behind the Bumpers. It's a fun show where we dive deeper into teams and their robots and what makes them work. And I'm here at team number 1506, Metal Muscle out of Flint, Michigan. 1506 has had a great history ranging back to 2005 with 3 Chairman's Awards, 3 event wins, and many other reoccurring awards, specifically in imagery and gracious professionalism. They were able to play one event in the 2020 season at the Kettering 1 event and finish as semi-finalists. And I'm here today with Emily, Ashley, Cameron, and Hayden, and we're diving a bit more into this robots and the modifications they've made into the 2021 season here on Behind the Bumpers.
Giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
We would like to thank our friends at Stryker for supporting fun so we can continue to make content for you. Stryker is a leading medical device company and is looking for those in FIRST to join their team as interns or for a great career. Come join a company that will actively support you being in FIRST at careers.stryker.com. If you're on an FRC or FTC team and you're currently meeting safely in person and have a functional robot, we'd love to have you on our Behind the Bots or Behind the Bumper segments. Go ahead and reach out to us on any of our social channels, on Discord, or send us an email at admin@firstupdatesnow.com, and let's get your team scheduled to be on First Updates Now. So Emily, we're going to start off with here. This is your 2020 robot that we've done some modifications for the 2021 season, but we want to hear all about what's going on with it, starting with the intake on your robot. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Our intake, we have it made out of rollers that are different hubs. So as you can see, our intake is ran by rollers, and we have 3 in the front. And then after we've intaked our balls, we have the same modified rollers. So they're the same as the front, just shorter, with the same hubs and everything. And they feed from our horizontal intake up to our vertical one and an outer shooter. Everything is pretty much the same. So if something breaks, it's a quick, easy fix for at competitions, and we know exactly how to fix it. So all of our parts are copied the same exact way.
So what kind of iterations did you go through creating this robot? Was this the first design and idea you came up with, or what were maybe some of the other ideas you had?
We had our prototypes we made out of wood originally, but it was the same concept. We just made it more compact so we had more space on our robot. So we did start with a box full of rollers, and it fed straight through, and it was single file. But this one we can fit up to 4, but they're not single filed.
So one of the things I really like about this design that we've seen maybe some others that have this open hopper concept is that you guys have built a really tall hopper so these power cells don't pop out. Was that something that was taken into consideration when you were analyzing the game?
Yes, it was. And so our hopper, we added these panelings onto the side. So our rollers aren't that tall. They're just a hair bit taller than the balls.
Mm-hmm.
But we added these panelings onto the sides to keep them from popping up when we would go over the metal bars that were on the field. But
Yeah, interesting to hear on that, and I really like the design. It looks very sleek and efficient as well, too. So we're going to be moving on to the shooter and the adjustable hood, which I know is something that has been a change for the 2021 at-home challenges, and we're going to have Ashley talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, so for the 2021 season, we've made several modifications to our shooter. First of all, we went through a couple different iterations of shooter wheels and different setups with them. So we landed on 2 60 durometer wheels in the center between 2 brass flywheels. And we went through several different prototypes of a single flywheel. And last season, we didn't have any of the flywheels at all. And then also on our shooter this year, we created an adjustable hood, and it's pneumatics controlled on the back here. So we've got 2 different set positions for the shooter that we can use for the at-home challenges at different distances.
Do you know
we
what
also
distances those are shooting from?
not exactly, it's the first 2 zones of the at-home challenge, and then the second 2 zones.
Sure.
We have a lower and a higher position. And then on the side of our shooter here, we've got tons of different hole patterns, so we can change up our shooter if we need to even more than we already have.
So on that shooter, the extra holes you put in, have you actually tried that yet? Where like, so essentially the thought process would be is that you can have two positions during a match, but you can essentially have tons of different positions due to your holes. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. These are the ones that we finally landed on, but we tested a couple different more forward ones, lower positions, and these are the ones that work the best for our challenges so far.
One of the things you mentioned early on is that you said you didn't have a flywheel initially for the shooter. What did you use prior to that?
Initially, we just didn't have these brass flywheels here at all. We just had two wheels in the center of the
Sure.
shooter. Yeah.
And did the motors change at all, or is that all the same of what you had?
No, we've still just got the two Falcon motors using for our shooter.
Sure, makes a lot of sense. Can you mention just a little bit on the exchange of how the power cells go from your intake into the shooter? Can we take a look at that a little bit?
Yes, so from our intake, we go up into this vertical hopper here that is then fed up into the shooter and out of the robot.
Sure. Are we able to see a couple power cells come up in there?
Yeah.
Well, it looks really smooth. Love how efficient that just seems to be. So nicely done on your team's end for that. So one of the things with 2020 robots going to 2021, of course, that in the 2020 game, we had climbers on robots, and in 2021, there really isn't much of a need for it, but that doesn't mean it's not an important aspect or feature to show off on these robots and teams who have worked hard for it. So we're going to be moving over to Cameron, who's going to be detailing more about the climber on Metal Muscle. Cameron?
Okay. Each of the arms are identical. Each one is powered by flips up by one pneumatically powered piston, and then after that it's pushed out by two springs at the end, and then pulled back in by a pulley and rope system, I guess. And each one, the retraction is powered by a Falcon motor.
Sure. So on the way you've designed this, do you have to get both hooks on in order to climb, or have you been able to climb with just one of the hooks?
Just one.
Okay. And so that's cool to hear with something like that, because I think in many cases your goal is to get two, right? But there's times where the alignment's just not quite right or something like that. So I appreciate hearing more about the climber, Cameron. Thank you very much on that. And one of the things we're going to be wrapping up with on the spot is the drivetrain. And the reason we want to feature that is that, as we talked about between the 2020 to 2021 challenges, we're seeing a lot of teams modify their drivetrains to accomplish some of the auto nav challenges and different driving challenges that are out there. So Hayden, tell us a little bit about what you've changed on this robot this year.
So during the 2020 season, we had 4-inch West Coast drive wheels. And the reason why we went with those was because during the 2020 season, we had other robots that were pushing on us. And with the West Coast drive, we were pretty stuck to the ground. It was pretty hard for them to push us. But with using those, it was also hard for us to maneuver around. And especially with the 2021 season, being able to maneuver is a huge advantage to the season. And so what we did was we switched each of our corners over to Omni wheels, and we left the centers as West Coast drive, and that gives us a lot more control and pretty much be able to drift around the auto nav challenges.
Yeah, going full Mario Kart on it, right? So,
Yep.
So one thing to ask you as a follow-up there, Hayden, is that has your team tried any of the challenges yet?
Yes, we have ran some couple practice with it, and they have worked amazingly.
What can you detail maybe what kind of improvement you've seen between the two? Like, have you noticed a time difference at all, or what's maybe your best time on something?
So our time was roughly around 10 seconds.
Wow.
And that was a huge improvement from going from our West Coast drive where it was very jittery. It was hard to turn around the corners and stuff. So it was a huge improvement.
Well, that's really cool to hear, Hayden. And in 1506 Metal Muscle, thank you so much for taking the time to tell us about your robot. Great machine that you have there. Done a lot of great things in Michigan, and can't wait to see how this team continues to evolve, both in the 2021 season and throughout the, of course, future years as well. So thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks for watching. If you want more fun content, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow and check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You can also directly support Fun by joining Fun Nation. Click the join button, and just for a few bucks a month, you'll unlock special perks and directly support us so we can keep making great content.